The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Pharisees and scribes came to Jesus from Jerusalem and said, "Why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? They do not wash their hands when they eat a meal." He summoned the crowd and said to them, "Hear and understand. It is not what enters one's mouth that defiles that person, but what comes out of the mouth is what defiles one." Then his disciples approached and said to him, "Do you know that the Pharisees took offense when they heard what you said?" He said in reply, "Every plant that my heavenly Father has not planted will be uprooted. Let them alone. They are blind guides of the blind. If a blind person leads a blind person, both will fall into a pit." The Gospel of the Lord. It is not what enters one's mouth that defiles that person, but what comes out of the mouth is what defiles one. Our world of today is concerned so much of cleanliness, and not only cleanliness but also the outside form. So much so that we find a lot of people today who always look for white collar jobs. People today are concerned about external appearance, so that there are a lot of salus per anima, facial wash, facial clean, and facial forms, so that people would go there so that they would look beautiful and clean. But my dear friends, yes, it is true, externally and physically, we have to be conscious of it. However, we should not only be contented of just being up to there. We have to work for more than the externals and the physical. We have to develop also what is inside us, what is spiritual, what cannot be seen. Because as has been said, what is essential is invisible to the eyes. That's why after hearing the complaint of the disciples, of the Pharisees rather, and the scribes, when they saw that the disciples of Jesus did not wash their hands before eating a meal, since it was the custom of the Jews to always be conscious of cleanliness, Jesus said to them, "It is not what enters one's mouth that defiles that person, but what comes out of the mouth is what defiles one." Jesus is simply telling us today, yes, it is important to be clean, but internal cleanliness is more important than all the others. We should develop our attitudes and characters rather than only our external manifestations of who we are. We should build up our characters and attitudes before we can build up our nation. We should build up our characters and attitudes before we can really stand as a people. One time, I was so struck by a friend of mine whom I know is very other oriented, because after knowing that in their basic ecclesial community activities, he always lends all what is needed by the community, such for example as his sound system, the seats, and whatever. And after using, the community sometimes would return it already destroyed, because after using sometimes they do not take care of it. And so I asked him, "Are you not worried because your things are destroyed after having been used?" Are you not worried that after using, they are not already in the original form? But this person just said, "No, Father, if I die, I would like to be remembered. My character and attitude is not destroyed, even if my things are destroyed. What is important for me is that I should build up my character, I should build up my attitude, rather than being so possessive, so protective of my things, because not even my words are so important. What is so important also is my character." That is why, my dear friends, today we are reminded once again to really look into what is more important, to really look into deep within our hearts, so that we will not be only conscious of the physical things, of the externals, but what we show and manifest before people. As has been said, just hurt me by physical action rather than by words. Because when we hurt others by words, then it is difficult to take trust once again. And so, my dear friends, today, let us again look into each one's heart, especially to our personal characters and attitudes to one another. Are we conscious of what is the external only and the physical? Or are we also trying our best to develop our characters, to always remember how we deal with others in the Christian way? Let us heed what Jesus tells us today, that what makes us defiled, what makes us a person of less character and attitude, is because of what we tell them, not because what enters into us. It is not what enters one's mouth that defiles that person, but what comes out of the mouth is what defiles one.